Sub-level 5 is actually really weird in that, well, for one thing, we have a lot of these little enemies here, the Spectralids, if I'm not mistaken, but we also have a very rare enemy from Pikmin 1, the Mamuta. Other than that, this is basically a rest floor, but as a reminder, the way the Mamuta attacks is, it buries Pikmin, but actually immediately makes them flowers. Other than that, this won't be that difficult to defeat. This one has a treasure, so let's try to take this one out. Processing? How strange. This atypical metal object came from inside that bizarre being. It appears to be a giant metal hand. Perhaps it is an ancient work of art. This floor is also extremely unusual for actually having a an upgrade treasure partway through the actual cavern. It's actually very rare to actually find an upgrade just in the middle of the rest of this cavern. For 100 Pokos, this is the Brute Knuckles. This object seems to replicate a humanoid fist, a glove much like it once lay in my junk hold. And here is that very glove. I have just found the missing rocket fist in my junk hold. Tap A 3 times to launch it. 1, 2, punch! So that takes care of sub-level 5, also worth mentioning. The reason why I went ahead and basically went through the subterranean complex to get purple Pikmin is, there are cases where sometimes not enough candy pop buds would spawn in this cavern to get the remaining 5 to 10 purple Pikmin I needed. So just to be on the safe side, that's why I did as many runs of that cavern as I did. So yeah, if you tap A 3 times, you can actually perform a one-hit combo. It's not the most efficient thing in the world, but in cases of needing to fight an enemy and wanting to stay away from dangerous enemies that could pick off Pikmin in the middle of a fight with a group, it's not a bad strategy to basically take a captain or two and just fight enemies using this combo. But with that, we are now done with floor 5. We actually might get a chance to show this off immediately. So we have another decorated cannon beetle and a Bulbmin and a water dumple. So first things first, we want to try to lure the boulders into the enemies to clear out some of this nonsense. And we can also start actually attacking the cannon beetle directly using punches. Actually, the boulder did most of the work, but hey, we definitely landed a few hits there. This is obviously time-consuming, but again, in caverns, the timer stops, so yeah, we have all the time in the world to do this. And it is definitely a lot safer because, fighting all of this with 20 blue Pikmin or 25 blue Pikmin would not be the most fun thing in the world. So it can, in some cases, be safer to just use the captains to fight. Yeah, this is definitely a perfect example of the Bulbmin, Cannon Beetle, all that stuff would just get in the way and make this a really weird place to fight with blue Pikmin. Purple Pikmin probably would be able to get through this without too much trouble, but blue Pikmin would definitely struggle with this, so it definitely makes sense to just use the captains for this. So there are ways around this, you could call the Pikmin and get through the water that way. Like, that is an option. Is it the best option? Well, it would definitely take a while. But again, this is also taking a while, but I think that would take even longer to just, like, corral the purple Pikmin through all of this water. That would not be the most fun thing. So we're yet again going to use the boulders to try to speed this up a little bit. And then, yeah, the water dumples are actually pretty weak enemies. You can easily defeat these with just punches, to be honest. In terms of, like, you know, actual dangerous enemies, like, these have surprisingly low defense. These are, like, by themselves, though, so we could probably get through this with just blue Pikmin, but again, might as well play it safe. Again, we have all the time in the world, and we're already, like, almost done with this fight anyway. We also have the upgrade from the Snagrit hole, which means we also don't take much damage. You know, Olimar can survive an attack. The Pikmin can't, so that's another reason to potentially use the captains in fights that are relatively doable. I've actually fought entire Bulborbs using just punches. It takes a very long time, but again, if you have a situation where enemies are really poorly placed, it actually might be a lot safer than trying to, like, fight a group of, like, you know, really tough enemies all together. You know, like, if you have to deal with a fiery Bulblax and you're in a situation where you only have, like, you know, 20 red Pikmin, it can definitely be easier to just fight directly, even though it definitely takes a very long time. That was really not good. And it's too high to throw Pikmin, so what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to stand near the exit and just toss Pikmin over instead of trying to lure them. Again, this is definitely one of those cases where I definitely prefer the old controls, because with the C-Stick, you get a lot more accuracy than using, like, a pointer and holding down the D-pad. So yeah, I do prefer the C-Stick. I prefer the old controls for anything involving the C-Stick, even though I do think the pointer controls work really great for a lot of other actions. Alright, so it looks like we have 2 chess pieces. The first one is almost back. This is the worthless statue, worth 80 Pokos. I like how it's the worthless statue, and yet there have actually been quite a few treasures of similar value that were not deemed worthless for some reason. Alright, let's take the blue Pikmin, help him out a little bit, carry this back a little bit faster. Again, trading off Pikmin for this very short stretch at the end wouldn't be worth it, so we'll just let the blue Pikmin carry this back the rest of the way. And we have the priceless statue, also worth 80 Pokos. So yeah, I really don't know what's up with these names, since they're worth the same thing, but that takes care of sub-level 6. I am slightly nervous that there were splashing sounds in the cutscene just now. I hope no Pikmin technically drowned in the cutscene. Hey, remember with the Bulblax Kingdom how I was like, wait, I thought there were supposed to be boulders here. Here are the boulders, this is the floor I was confusing it with. Yeah, it has a very similar aesthetic to it. A lot of orange Bulborbs like the floor in the Bulblax Kingdom. And yeah, a ton of boulders. So yeah, this is the one I was confusing it with. This is a not great situation, so I am going to use one of our many bitter sprays just to buy us a little bit of time there, to make it a little bit easier to get through both of those Bulborb fights without too much trouble. Actually, I think the way is basically as clear as it's going to get, which is not very. Because again, sometimes this game decides to be very mean-spirited, and basically only spawn in falling hazards when you've actually passed by with Pikmin. So I actually will be taking the purple Pikmin along, also because there's Nectar up here, but also because I don't trust this game to not toss a boulder. I am going to use the white Pikmin to carry everything back here. Oh wow, there actually wasn't a boulder. I'm genuinely slightly surprised. So they'll carry that back, and we'll get some Nectar for these two purple Pikmin in a moment. We have the spouse alert for 120 Pokos. So the white Pikmin are gonna start digging that up. I actually didn't realize it was right there. That actually worked out really well. That was where I was going anyway. We have this very bright treasure here. I'm ready to call them at a moment's notice. I do not trust this game. Are we good to go? We are good to go, okay. Still don't trust it, so I am going to kind of keep a close eye on the Pikmin as they carry this back, just in case the game, again, decides to be mean, and only spawns a boulder in as the Pikmin are directly passing by a specific route. They're close enough that I think we're pretty much in the clear, but again, this game definitely will throw a cheap shot at you at times, and can be very frustrating to lose Pikmin that way. And we have the Flame Tiller for 120 Pokos. Alright, so that's everything on sub-level 7. Our final floor is a doozy. We have, oddly enough, one of the more annoying fights in the game, even though it shouldn't be that difficult on paper. But we have these little, like, Bulborb larvae that will basically instantly eat a Pikmin. There's like no downtime between when it tries to bite a Pikmin and when it actually swallows the Pikmin, so you have to be very careful when fighting them. I actually do recommend fighting these with captains, and for some reason I'm having a really tough time tossing the purple Pikmin up to this hill, which is not great considering we definitely need the purple Pikmin for this. Wow, that one really launched for some reason. I'm also afraid that the ones on the edge are going to slide off as soon as I whistle in a moment. So I actually might leave one captain on purpose behind, just in case any fall, and we'll try to toss them back up in a moment. So yeah, we have all these Bulborb larvae that are very dangerous, but we also have another Empress Bulbulax, and yeah, this fight is actually surprisingly difficult, because of all of these other enemies in the way. What I actually end up doing a lot is leaving a captain as like a decoy. Olimar will be taking a ton of damage. She actually might lose all of his health in this particular boss. Hopefully it doesn't go that badly, but that is actually a possibility. We might swap over and start punching through some of that swarm in a moment. Oh good, they all stayed on this ledge. So, with the President, we're going to get into position up here for the boss fight, but also we'll switch over to Olimar really quickly to defeat some of this, clear some of this out. Be careful when fighting the Empress Bulbulax, because sometimes these little Bulborb larvae will actually move over to the main area and will actually start like getting in the way of actually fighting the boss. So yeah, you have to be very careful in this fight. A lot can actually go wrong here. I'm pretty sure the Empress Bulblax also has more health than in the first fight, which makes sense because this is a much later iteration of the same fight, and that was like the first major boss we saw. So yeah, this is tougher. Nothing we can't handle, but definitely something we need to keep in mind. Olimar is also losing a lot of health. I'm trying to kind of keep an eye out on that. Also, my cursor keeps going off to the right, and I'm afraid of throwing a Pikmin off to the side as the Empress Bulblax is about to roll. So I'm trying to be a little bit careful there. Now, again, periodically swapping over so Olimar doesn't lose all of his health in this fight. So far, this is actually going remarkably well. I am playing this very safe. You can actually leave the Pikmin longer than I am, but again, like right there, I unintentionally did that, and it's very scary because if you don't call the Pikmin fast enough, they will easily be flattened by the boss. So again, I'm trying to play this a little bit safe, but again, I think I am being a little bit more cautious than I necessarily need to. But yeah, I do get nervous when I don't call the Pikmin back soon enough. But that should just about finish off this fight. This next cycle hopefully will be enough to train the rest of the boss's health. Ervert. Olfactory sensors overloading. Approaching outer stink limits. The stench must be emanating from that object. You might have noticed I actually backed up after the boss went down, and the reason is I have actually lost Pikmin after the fight because of the other enemies. So again, I tend to approach this floor very cautiously to avoid any mishaps like that. So yeah, we got through it, no problem, thankfully. So all that's left is to carry back our treasure. So I hope I cleared out all the other enemies, and yeah, they are actually going this way too, not through any potentially dangerous pathways. Olimar also survived the fight, which I'm actually surprised by. But again, the armor definitely helps, which again is part of the reason why I do feel like getting certain upgrades in a specific order is actually pretty helpful at times. This is the repugnant appendage for 100 Pokos. This object has pockets of air under its surface and is perfect for the boots I am making. Processing complete. Nano assemblage of the Rush boots is concluded. These nullify wind resistance by circulating air beneath the soles. You'll move faster, and you'll no longer be blown away by Puffy Blowhog's nasal blasts. With that collected, we actually can outrun White Pikmin now. That's how fast we are. And yeah, now we're not affected by the Puffy or Withering Blowhog's attacks. We still have to worry about, Pikmin losing their flowers and things like that, so we still have to be a little bit careful, but definitely this is a very good helpful item. I'm pretty sure this is actually our last major upgrade. So yeah, we should have everything now, in terms of, upgrade-related treasures. But with that, we are officially done with the Frontier Cavern. With 1,400 Pokos worth of treasure, and no Pikmin thankfully glitching out of existence, that is our final cavern of this area. with that, we've actually cleared out the Valley of Repose, and there's nothing else to do, and we have half the day left. I mean, we could harvest... I mean, there actually aren't even that many pellets left to harvest at this point, so we might as well call it here. Just to show this off, on the menu where you can actually see all your berry totals, you can actually see your exploration kit, which is all of the items that give you some kind of like upgrade. So yeah, we have all of them now. With 16, almost 1700 Pokos worth of treasure in total, yeah, that is all of the remaining treasures in the Valley of Repose. And our Pikmin numbers didn't budge at all, including growing Pikmin or losing Pikmin. Louie, we suddenly stopped hearing from you. Everything okay? If things get tough, you can always come home. I'll stock up on those pick carrots you love. With that, we have completed the 3 initial areas, and all that's left is the Wistful Wild, which we'll be tackling, or we'll start to tackle this next time. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Pikmin 2.